What if you could live to be 140? I mean, really? Well, an AI was asked to figure that out. It crunched a ton of data from the world's longest living people, and the answer it came up with was, well, it was logical, simple, and totally not what anyone was expecting. Let's break down what it found.
So yeah, that's the big question, right? How do you get there? We all have our theories. Eat this, don't do that. But what happens when you let a machine just look at the raw data, with no biases? What patterns pop out?
Okay, first thing the AI kicked to the curb, diet. Yep, all those kale smoothies, all that perfect meal prepping. While it's good for you, the analysis said it's not the #1 thing, not even close. Next on the chopping block, exercise. All those hours at the gym, those marathons you're training for, again, great for you. But according to the data, that's not the main ticket to a super long life either.
And then, the big one. It's not your genes, so you can't just thank your parents for a long life. So wait a second. If it's not diet, not exercise, and not your DNA, what in the world is left?
Well, this brings us to the big reveal. The one thing that the AI found was more important than everything else combined.
And there it is, a low level of chronic stress. That's the secret sauce. The AI's conclusion was crystal clear. You can have the perfect diet, an amazing workout routine, and great genes, but if you are living under constant simmering stress, it's taking years off your life. Everything else is basically secondary.
Now this is where it gets really interesting, because the AI's definition of chronic stress isn't what you think. It's not about your crazy boss or your bills. It's the internal conflict. It's that gap between who you really are on the inside and the mask you put on for the rest of the world.
And that internal battle has a very real, very physical cost. It basically puts your body in a 24/7 survival mode. You're just flooded with the stress hormone cortisol all the time. And over the years, that stuff is just toxic. It wrecks your blood vessels, tanks your immune system, and even messes with your brain.
Okay, so if this specific kind of stress is the enemy, how do we fight back? Well, the analysis laid out some rules, and they all start with finding some inner peace. Rule #1 sounds simple, but it is so hard. Basically, only do things that don't make you feel that internal resistance, that, I have to do this feeling. Every single day you spend in a situation that goes against your true self, whether it's a job or a relationship, you are literally accelerating how fast your cells are aging.
And just look at these numbers the analysis came up with. This is mind-blowing. Sticking with a job you absolutely hate could cost you 15 years of your life. A partner you don't love? That's 10 years. Even just being around people who suck the life out of you could shave off 8 years. The cost of not being yourself is just staggering.
Okay, rule #2 builds right on that. The AI found that real, genuine social connections are worth more than any pill or supplement you could ever take. It's not a nice to have, it's a biological requirement. And get this. Ready for a shocker? The data showed that chronic loneliness is just as bad for your health as smoking 15 cigarettes every single day. We worry so much about what we're putting in our bodies, but feeling isolated might be one of the most toxic things of all. And the data backs this up big time. People with strong social bonds live, on average, 50% longer. And listen, this isn't about being popular or having 1,000 friends on social media. It's about having just a few people, maybe even just one person, you can be completely 100% yourself with. Rule #3 moves from how we connect with other people to how we connect with ourselves. The Japanese have a wonderful word for this, ikigai. It literally means your reason to get up in the morning.
It turns out, having that sense of purpose can add up to 7 years to your life. And it doesn't have to be some epic quest to save the world. It could be taking care of your garden. It could be looking after your grandkids. It's just that feeling, deep down, that you're here for a reason, that you're needed. So the next set of rules from the analysis kind of shifts gears. It moves away from our inner world and focuses more on just simplifying how we approach our daily lives.
Rule #4 is a big one. Stop saving your life for later. So many of us put off our dreams and our joy for retirement, thinking, I'll have time then. But the truth is, a lot of people get to retirement too worn out and sick to actually enjoy it. And here's a really brutal statistic the analysis found to back that up. 43% of people die within the first 5 years of retiring. It's almost like their body was holding on, waiting for permission to finally live. And by the time it got it, it was just too late. Now here's a fun paradox for you. The AI found that the super-obsessed fitness fanatics, they can actually live shorter lives than people who just kind of listen to their gut. Why? Because obsession is just another form of stress. Constantly tracking every calorie, every step, every heartbeat, that's not living freely, that's living in a cage.
So instead of that forced, punishing exercise, the longest living people in the world, they just move, naturally, as part of their day. They walk places, they work in the garden, they take the stairs. Their bodies are just in a state of constant, gentle motion, not just 1 hour of insanity after sitting at a desk all day.
All right, this brings us to the seventh and final rule from the AI. And it might be the simplest one of all, but for most of us in the modern world, it's probably the hardest one to actually follow.
It's these 3 things. Sleep when you're sleepy, eat when you're hungry, rest when you're tired. The people who live the longest don't fight their bodies, they listen to them. We, on the other hand, have trained ourselves to ignore every signal. We chug coffee when we're tired, we eat because the clock says it's lunchtime, and we push through exhaustion until we completely collapse.
And the analysis leaves us with this pretty powerful warning. Your body is talking to you, constantly, telling you what it needs. And if you ignore it long enough, eventually, it just stops.
So really, it all boils down to this one question. As you're sitting here listening to this, what is your body trying to tell you right now? And are you going to listen?